Okay, so today I got the opportunity to scrim the winners of the best Hexy tournament for $10,000, being Agony. They're widely renowned as the best Dead by Daylight team, and I wanted to share how it went down with you guys. So basically this is going to be my video of, how each game went, my recapping of it, what I was thinking at the time, and just basically what my strats were, what my mindset was, any plays that I made, how each game went, whether I was happy with the result, whether I was sad with it. So we're just going to basically look back at each game. One bad thing though is that my recording corrupted, so I don't actually have any footage from myself, but Nightlight has kindly let us use his stream footage. I'm basically going to give you a rundown of each game, starting with the first one. We played 2 nurse games and 1 spirit game because they wanted me to alternate killers, and the rules for this scrim were the Boomer Poorly tournament rules, which are a little bit survivor-sided, but that's okay. That means you get 2 of each perk across the board. You can get 4 unique items of rarity yellow and below, so 1 toolbox, 1 medkit, 1 flashlight, 1 firecracker. The killer is allowed any perks. So how did I get the opportunity to scrim Agony? Basically, I see Nightlight go live and I was just chilling in his stream. They were talking about scrimming, that's what he was planning on streaming, and they happened to mention that they didn't have a killer. I quickly just put in the chat, oh, you need a nurse to scrim, and they were actually game, they were actually down to scrim me. So I said, fuck it, and I actually got out of bed, pulled up. My first game on was against potentially one of the best teams ever in Dead by Daylight, so that was interesting. And let's see it, my first nurse game on of the day was against Agony, so let's see how it goes. In game 1, my build was Corrupt, Undying, Ruin, and Haunted. This is because a lot of teams don't actually expect the Haunted anymore, because it's kind of moved out of the meta a little bit, and people are just cracking totems to get rid of that Ruin and Undying, because they know that once they crack a few totems, they're getting rid of 2 perks. If it's done properly, then they can actually get the 2 perks out of the game relatively quickly, as long as if they see 2 different totems, they crack one, and they can work out whether it was Undying or Ruin. And then if it wasn't, then they crack the other and they've got the Undying out of the game, and then they need to crack 1 more Hex and it's Ruin. So they can get out the Undying Ruin combo relatively quickly just by aggroing totems. So this is why I decided to throw Haunted into the mix, because a lot of teams are aggroing totems and they don't expect the Haunted, and this actually worked out really well for me, so I was really happy with the build and I definitely would recommend it to anybody that is trying comp. Okay, so game 1 was on Mother's Dwelling. At the start of the game, I was just sort of checking around my corrupt gens, trying to find an early spawn. I quickly looked, didn't really find much, because stealth is very, very key on this map. And then I was just like, okay, well, we'll go back to our gens, make sure that they're not on it. And I did actually find 2 people doubled up on a gen. They were probably trying to sneak it, thinking that I would check my corrupt for longer. But we only checked it for a short amount of time, and then we went back to active gens, and we managed to catch them out. So straight away, we were on Blazy, I believe it is. And as I'm chasing this guy, I look over to my left and I see across the map with my Undying that somebody is on a totem. So I don't actually go for any swing early on, and I just wait for this totem to be cracked, and just to my luck, it happened to be Haunted Ground, and I managed to crack him back down with a whack. We get an insta-down very early on in the game. We know 1 person isn't on a gen as well because we pushed them off, 2 people off. So we had 1 person in chase, 1 person not on a gen, so they had a maximum of 2 people on a gen, and even then, they most likely weren't because of the corrupt and how early we found these 2, so that we were in a really, really good position. So I down Blazy, I hook him, my Haunted Ground still has about 45 seconds left. I instantly go back to check around the gen, I blink across a jungle gym and happen to see Finger Guns holding the corner of the jungle gym. He runs out, away, kind of towards the hook, but more towards the shack area, and I managed to get him down when he runs into a tree. As I'm blinking, he's looking over at me, and he runs into a tree. I managed to get him down with my lunge, and we have 2 hooks right next to each other with Haunted Ground still active, and I'd make the decision to push one of them into stage 2. This meaning I had the massive upper hand for this early game, so I was in a very, very good position. I was feeling happy. Literally was my first game on of the day for Nurse, and we were just sort of camping this person into stage 2. They went into stage 2, and Finger Guns was in his first state. They both decided to push up to the either hook at the same time, so 1 went for Finger Guns, one went for the other. As soon as Blazy clocked into stage 2, I went and pushed the person that was saving Finger Guns. I got a tag on them, and then Nightlight came in for the save on Blazy. As soon as Blazy gets unhooked, I go for the tunnel, and I make sure to down him. Blazy did have a good chase, but when I down him, it was about the right time for his DS to be over, so it's pretty much perfect for me. I pick him up, I put him on a hook, straight away, 3 gens left, and there is 1 person out of the game for good. We have finger guns on state 1 on the hook, so we are absolutely cruising. Considering the size of this map, how dogshit this map is for Nurse, and considering I've never played on this map in a tournament before, I was really happy with this result so far, especially it being my first game on. I did kind of expect to get bullied for my first game and then we'd work our way into the game, but with my luck, it was kind of working out. So with 3 gens still left, we did end up finding finger guns, which is the exact person I wanted to find. We down him, we hook him on a hill, nice and secure hill. I know that there are a maximum of 2 people on gens, and I was actually fine with that. So I just literally proxy camped this hook because I had 3 gens near it. I had main building, 1 in the little stone circle, and 1 right on Finger's hook. So I damaged the gen where he was hooked by it, and knowing that it was just sat there aggressing, I'm again in a very good position. We camp finger guns all the way out into death, and then we have literally got 2 people out of the game, 1 gen left and a 3 gen, so we're cruising, we're doing absolutely great. And then I start to chase Royalty, who instantly runs me away from the 3 gen, which was the smartest thing to do, but eventually we do get him down on the far side by the smoke shack. Once I get him down, we do hook him instantly because I know where Hatch is, and then straight away I push up to the gen that I know Nightlight is on, the one that Finger was working on, that was right by his hook, so it only made sense. So I pushed up straight away, I got the hit on Nightlight. I didn't really want to play Hatch just because it is scrims and, you know, leaving people on the floor, what do you learn out of it? You don't really learn a whole lot. You know, it's pretty much just a luck game, or you can only do certain things. It's not really a demonstration of skill slogging for the 4K, it is just something that I would have done in that situation. I would have put Royalty on the floor, and I would have went over to the gens, found Nightlight, and then just ended the game there. But they did end up getting a lucky 4%, and because of that lucky 4%, they got a gate open, Royalty got out, and Nightlight ended up getting Hatch, which was good for them both, but I would chalk that up as a 4K because I never would have played it that way if it wasn't scrims. It's absolutely fine by me. For them to get the 2 out, I'm really happy with how I played. I know in my mind that that was a 4K because I never ever would have hooked Royalty in that situation, and he didn't have Unbreakable. In game 3, I was trying out a different build just based off of how they were playing to see if it would work or how it would work. Again, it didn't really work out too well, but I'm still not too worried. I thought it was a good test, and it was just interesting to see how it did in a scrim game where if I lose, it doesn't really matter, because again, it is just a scrim, it's not a real tournament, so I could just afford to experiment and just see how things work. So I ran Ruin, Undying, Devour, and Corrupt, which was interesting, and it wasn't bad overall, but they did end up cracking my Devour instantly. If they didn't crack my Devour instantly, then I think it would have been a different game, and we would have seen how it went, but it happens, sometimes it happens. I only got 1 down out of my Devour, so, I mean, it's unfortunate, but that is the nature of RNG builds, and you have to be prepared to lose a totem like that, just purely off of RNG sometimes. It does happen. The third game was Nurse on Shelterwoods, which I believe to be a pretty poor map for Nurse. So I was loading in, just seeing what I could do. I decided to test out a kind of build to work around and see whether they would expect it or not, because before I ran Haunted and it caught them off guard, so now I was going to switch out of my Haunted and see if they wouldn't cleanse. I still had my Undying just in case they were running a Distortion to detect my Undying, which actually is a very smart play. I've seen other top teams doing it. So early on, I was just trying to build up my Devour stacks. I managed to get up to the 3 stacks. I believe we got a 5 hook game with 2 deaths, so again, I was pretty happy with the result considering I was just, you know, trying to test out a build, and the build didn't go too badly. I did end up only getting 1 down from Devour because they did get lucky on the first totem pop was my Devour. It happens. It could have been my Undying, it could have been my Ruin, but no, it happened to be my Devour. That happens sometimes. That is the nature of the RNG of Hexbugs, and I was again pretty happy with how this Nurse game went. So it was just a double recharge Nurse game on Shelterwoods. I had relatively quick downs. I managed to get Finger and Blazy dead, so I was pretty happy with it. And then because the gates were just too far, they ended up getting a 2 out. So it happens. A 5 hook game I will definitely take against the caliber of Agony on a poor map, or a map that I personally just don't like for Nurse at all. And that was all of the games that I played. So those were my scrim games with Agony. I was meant to show you 3 games. I was going to put the Spirit game in, but because of the nature of this channel and me being a Nurse main, I ended up cutting it out. I didn't really have much time to edit it, since I wasn't meant to upload this about 10 minutes ago, and I'm editing it right now, but that's okay. If you did enjoy the video, I hope you please consider subscribing. You don't always have to stick around if you don't enjoy the content, and it's free. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks once again to Agony for letting me use these stream clips and letting me upload this, and it was a really, really fun set of games. Hopefully we can get a rematch at some point in the future, and I'll actually be able to show you my nurse POV. So thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful rest of your day.